discovering the secrets of the Congo, imagine a place where the dense forest whispers ancient secrets, where mysterious creatures lurk in the shadows, and the stories of lost tribes echo in the warm breezes. The Congo is more than just a destination. It is a labyrinth of enigmas that challenge logic and reason. Have you ever stopped to think about what lies beneath the surface of this vast territory? A world where nature is both an ally and an adversary, and where each step can reveal a new truth or a new fear. Think of the sounds you might hear: the distant roar of a lion, the song of exotic birds, or even the murmur of ancestral rituals. What if I told you that many of these sounds carry stories that could change your perception of life? What would you do if you encountered a tribe that believes in guardian spirits, or if you stumbled upon plants with properties that defy science? Prepare yourself, for the journey through the Congo is just beginning, and the discoveries that await us may be more unsettling than you imagine. Let's explore this fascinating world together. Unexpected archaeological discoveries. Recently, I've been delving into the fascinating archaeological discoveries emerging from the Congo, and honestly, it feels like opening a door to a past many of us never imagined existed. The idea of advanced civilizations hidden beneath the dense vegetation of the rainforest is breathtaking. Just imagine archaeological sites revealing structures that indicate a technological knowledge far beyond what was previously believed. With each new excavation, artifacts like pottery, sophisticated tools, and even remnants of agricultural practices suggest a surprising level of social and economic organization. What's even more impressive is that these discoveries are not merely relics of a distant past, but clues about how these civilizations interacted with their environment. The ways they cultivated the land, managed water resources, and even constructed their dwellings teach us much about sustainability and our relationship with nature. After all, who would have thought that in the heart of Africa, amid one of the most unexplored forests in the world, existed societies capable of imparting valuable lessons for the challenges we face today? These advanced civilizations also raise intriguing questions about the history of humanity. How did they emerge and disappear? What happened to the knowledge and technologies they developed? Looking at the artifacts being unearthed, one gets the sense that we are merely scratching the surface of a much richer story than we have been presented with so far. It's as if the Congo is guarding its secrets, ready to reveal them gradually, challenging the traditional narrative of African history. The discoveries in the Congo also prompt us to reflect on how archaeology is practiced. Often, narratives about African civilizations are shaped by a Western perspective that tends to underestimate what these cultures were capable of achieving. However, what these archaeological sites are showing us is that Africa has a rich tapestry of stories that deserve to be told with greater depth and respect. Each artifact found is a piece of a puzzle that could completely change how we view the past. Lastly, what fascinates me most is the potential these discoveries have to inspire future generations. Imagine young Congolese or even others from around the world feeling motivated to explore their ancestral history and better understand the cultural wealth available to them. Archaeology is not just about the past, it is also about identity and how we build our future from our roots. Biodiversity and unexplored species. Speaking of cultural richness, let's now turn to the biodiversity of the Congo, which is a true gem of our planet. The Congo rainforest is home to a diversity of flora and fauna that remains largely unknown. When I think about it, I am struck by the idea that with each step we take in the forest, we may be treading on ground that harbors rare and yet to be catalogued species. It's like we are exploring a parallel world, filled with mysteries and discoveries. Scientific expeditions have revealed species that challenge our current understanding of biodiversity. There are reports of animals that seem to have stepped out of a fairy tale, such as primates that behave in surprising ways and plants with incredible medicinal properties. This rich biological diversity is not only fascinating, but also crucial for the survival of the global ecosystem. The Congo is considered one of the last refuges for many endangered species, and its preservation is vital. However, what truly makes me reflect is the impact of human activities on this biodiversity. The unchecked exploitation of natural resources, such as timber and minerals, threatens not only the species inhabiting the forest, but also the indigenous peoples who rely on it for their livelihoods. It's a constant battle between development and preservation, and often nature ends up losing. Here, scientific curiosity must go hand in hand with ethical responsibility, and that is something we need to discuss more. On the flip side, the unexplored species that still remain in the Congo represent a source of hope. They embody the potential for new scientific discoveries, innovations, and even solutions to global problems such as diseases and climate change. Imagine discovering a plant that can cure a previously incurable disease. That is the magic of biodiversity, which is why we need to protect these habitats. The Congo is a living laboratory, and what we find there can have profound implications for humanity. The biodiversity of the Congo also teaches us about interconnections. Each species plays a role in the ecosystem, and the loss of one can affect the entire balance. When I see forests being deforested or rivers being polluted, I feel that we are not only losing species, but also dismantling a complex web of life that sustains the planet. Conservation is not just about saving animals or plants, it's about ensuring a sustainable future for all of us. Legends and folklore. Let's dive into a fascinating aspect of Congolese culture. It's legends and folklore. The richness of local folklore is something that has always intrigued me. The stories told around campfires about mythical creatures and unexplained phenomena reflect the deep relationship that the peoples of the Congo have with nature. One of the most famous legends is that of mythical, a creature resembling a dinosaur that supposedly inhabits the rivers of the Congo. The legend of the Congo. This legend revolves around the fear and reverence the communities hold for the vastness of the forest and its mysteries. Legends are not merely stories. They convey values, teachings, and a connection to the past. Each narrative carries the wisdom of ancestors, and the way these stories are passed down through generations is a means of keeping culture alive. What fascinates me the most is how these narratives often intertwine with reality, reflecting collective experiences and explaining natural phenomena that, for local peoples, cannot be separated from their beliefs. In addition to mythical, there are other creatures and spirits that populate Congolese imagination. For example, stories about beings that protect the forests and care for nature are common. This spiritual connection with the environment is something we often lose in modern society. Hearing these stories leads me to reflect on how culture and nature are intertwined, and how the protection of the environment is often an extension of safeguarding our traditions and narratives. However, we cannot forget that legends also have a darker side. Often, they serve as warnings, alerting us to the dangers of nature and the consequences of disrespecting the forces that surround us. Tales of beings that punish those who abuse the environment are prevalent, making me think about the importance of respecting the natural world. These narratives are a constant reminder that we are all interconnected and that our actions have consequences. Ultimately, the legends of the Congo invite us to explore not only what we know, but also what we have yet to discover. They challenge us to look at the world with curiosity and respect, understanding that there is much more than meets the eye. Each story is a window into a universe of possibilities, and by connecting with these narratives, we can reconnect with the essence of humanity and the richness of cultural diversity. Impacts of mining activities. When we think of the Congo, the first image that comes to mind is its dense forests and lush biodiversity. However, behind this natural beauty lies a reality that is often ignored: the rampant exploitation of its mineral resources. Over the years, various companies have set up operations in the region, drawn by the wealth of the soil, but what many fail to realize is the trail of destruction these activities leave behind. It is both impressive and heartbreaking to see how nature is sacrificed in the name of progress, while local communities face the direct consequences of this exploitation. Mining companies, in their relentless pursuit of gold, diamonds, and other precious minerals, have deforested vast areas of the forest, destroying habitats and putting countless species at risk. Soil erosion and river contamination are just a few visible consequences of this activity. Walking along the banks of a once crystal-clear river, now tinted with an unusual hue, it is impossible not to feel the sorrow of an ecosystem deteriorating. In many cases, communities that rely on these water resources for survival are the most affected, facing health issues and a scarcity of potable water. But mineral exploitation does not only affect the environment. The social impact is equally devastating. Communities are often displaced without warning, losing their lands and ways of life. What was once a space for community and culture is transformed into an exploitation zone, where residents become mere spectators to the destruction of their home. Ironically, even after this devastation, the economic benefits rarely reach these communities. Instead, poverty intensifies as the riches of the earth end up in foreign hands. Furthermore, working in the mines is often dangerous and exploitative. There are reports of inhumane conditions, with workers subjected to grueling hours and lacking adequate protection. Many are young people who, in search of a better life, fall into a trap of forced labor and exploitation. This raises an unsettling question. How far are we willing to sacrifice human lives and the environment for what we consider development? The truth is that the exploitation of natural resources in the Congo reflects a global system that prioritizes profit above all. Finally, it is crucial to raise greater awareness about this reality. The world needs to understand that what happens in the Congo is not merely a local issue, but a global concern that involves us all. The pressure for more sustainable and ethical mining practices must be constant. It is necessary to seek alternatives that respect both the environment and local communities, promoting development that is genuinely beneficial for everyone. Evidence of lost civilizations. As I walked among the immense trees of the Congolese forest, I couldn't help but think of the civilizations that once inhabited these lands. Evidence of complex societies that left behind intriguing geological structures is a mystery that fascinates archaeologists and historians alike. With every step, the feeling of treading on sacred ground, where ancient stories and cultures intertwine, intensified. It is remarkable how the past still echoes among the treetops and the streams that wind through the forest. One of the most fascinating discoveries has been the earth formations that, according to experts, may indicate the presence of ancient cities. These structures, often covered by dense vegetation, reveal that the region was once home to societies that mastered advanced construction techniques. Observing these ruins, it is impossible not to wonder what life was like for those people, what their beliefs were, and how they organized socially. The idea that, at some point, the Congo was the home of prosperous and complex civilizations is both intriguing and poignant. Additionally, reports of artifacts found near these structures suggest that these civilizations were much more sophisticated than previously imagined. Polished stone tools, elaborate ceramics, and even remnants of organized agriculture point to a profound understanding of the environment and its peculiarities. This challenges the simplistic view that Africa was merely a primitive continent, filled with isolated tribes, and reminds us that history is much richer and more diverse than we have been taught. The mystery of lost civilizations in the Congo also raises reflections on what happened to these peoples. Interaction with colonizers, the exploitation of natural resources, and climate change may have contributed to their disappearance. This story is not just about the past, it also teaches us about the dangers we still face today, especially when we look at local communities and their interactions with the environment. It serves as a reminder that by ignoring the wisdom and lessons of the past, we risk repeating the same mistakes. Ultimately, the search for these lost civilizations must continue. It is essential to invest in archaeological research that not only reveals our history, but also recognizes and values the cultures that still inhabit these lands. Through understanding our roots, we can build a more respectful and sustainable future, learning from those who came before us, and ensuring that their stories are not forgotten. Echoes of Conflicts and Hidden History. It is remarkable how the history of a place can be intertwined with its scars, and Congo is a perfect example of this. Over the years, armed conflicts have left deep marks on Congolese society, far beyond what is visible at first glance. In conversations with locals, I realized that each person has a story, a narrative that, although often painful, reveals the resilience and strength of the people. These stories are not just accounts of wars, they are echoes of interrupted lives, shattered dreams, and communities striving to rebuild. One of the most fascinating aspects I discovered was how conflicts have shaped the cultural identity of the region. The traditions that have survived are a testament to the people's struggle. The songs and dances, although often inspired by pain, also carry a message of hope. What struck me was the way the elders passed down these stories to the younger generations. They do not just recount what happened, they share what they have learned from these experiences. It is a form of resistance, keeping the collective memory alive and preventing history from repeating itself. As I delved deeper, I noticed that many of the historical secrets emerging from these narratives change the way we view wars. What seems to be a simple conflict over resources or power is often rooted in ethnic disputes, issues of identity, and struggles for recognition. The complexity of the situation is overwhelming, but it is this very complexity that reveals the nuances of Congolese life. Listening to these accounts confronted me with the reality that the victors of history are not always the ones who are right. Often, they are merely those who manage to survive to tell their side. I was introduced to a group of young people who, despite the suffering their families have faced, are determined to change the narrative. They are creating spaces for dialogue and art, where stories of pain are transformed into creative expressions. Through theater, music, and visual arts, they are retelling their experiences, turning pain into a tool for empowerment. This search for new meaning made me reflect on the importance of art as a means of healing and uniting communities, even after the deepest traumas. By the end of my journey, it became clear that the hidden stories of Congo are more than just sad accounts. They are a testament to human strength, resilience, and the unending quest for peace and justice. Each story I heard was like a piece of a larger puzzle, and together they form a vibrant and complex portrait of a people who refuse to be defined solely by their wars. It is a reminder that even in the shadows of the past, there is always a light shining in the form of hope and renewal. Unexplained natural phenomena. Congo is a land of natural wonders, but it is also the stage for phenomena that challenge logic and scientific understanding. During my stay, I heard about death lakes, which are, in themselves, a terrifying curiosity. These lakes, like the famous Lake Nyos, are known to release carbon dioxide in such massive quantities that they can asphyxiate life in their vicinity. Talking to local fishermen, I realized that many of them fear approaching these waters, not only because of what has happened in the past, but also because of what might still occur. In addition to the lakes, there are atmospheric phenomena that would leave any scientist perplexed. The sky over Congo, on some occasions, is illuminated by lightning that seems to dance for hours. Locals told me that these events are seen as a sign of communication between ancestors and the living. This cultural perspective is fascinating, as it transforms something that could be viewed as a mere meteorological phenomenon into a deeply spiritual experience. The way communities interpret these natural events reveals much about their relationship with their environment. During an expedition to some remote regions, I witnessed the force of the climate in a visceral way. Violent storms would form rapidly, causing floods that devastated villages. The resilience of the people in the face of such adversities is admirable. They do not merely adapt, they find creative ways to live in harmony with nature. One farmer told me that he learned to observe the signs from the land and sky, using that knowledge to plant during safer times. This made me reflect on the ancestral wisdom that is often overlooked by modern scientific approaches. What makes these phenomena even more intriguing is the research being conducted to understand their causes. Scientists from various parts of the world have been studying these mysteries, trying to decipher what seems to be an unsolvable puzzle. The convergence of science and local wisdom is something I had never witnessed before. In conversations with researchers, I found that many are learning from the locals, recognizing that traditional knowledge often holds answers that modern science has yet to uncover. By the end of my explorations, it became evident that the natural phenomena of Congo are more than mere curiosities. They represent an intersection of science, culture, and spirituality, revealing a complexity that challenges conventional understanding. Instead of viewing these events as something to be dominated or explained, perhaps the true lesson lies in accepting uncertainty and seeking a more balanced relationship with the natural world. Congo taught me that there is more between heaven and earth than we can comprehend, and sometimes the best answers come from the collective wisdom of a people living in harmony with their environment. So, what do you think, everyone? After everything we've explored about Congo, can you imagine what it's like to live in a place so full of mysteries? It's as if every corner hides a new story, a new challenge. Now, I want to know, which discovery surprised you the most? The impressive biodiversity or those legends that seem straight out of a horror movie? Speaking of horror, have you ever stopped to think about the cultural richness of this people? Their traditions, music, dance, all of it is a true treasure that deserves to be celebrated. What would you do if you could live a day as a local? What experiences would you like to have? Don't forget to leave your theories and curiosities about Congo in the comments. And if you enjoyed this fascinating dive, how about sharing it with your friends? After all, knowledge is even better when shared. Stay tuned, because in the next video we're going to explore another part of the world that will leave you speechless. Get ready, because the surprises are just beginning. Until then, keep your curiosity alive and your mind open. We'll see you on the next adventure.